So, a long time ago, one of the first games I tackled for this channel was co-op shooter Borderlands 2. It remains a popular and stylish game, and an interesting benchmark for low-end computers. However, in that video, I could have gone much lower, as the game is way more flexible than I expected, which made me ask, could this game be run on an Intel Atom CPU? Maybe something as low as a computer on a stack. Apparently, I was not the only one curious about this. Well, it's time to find out. Welcome to the LowSpecGamer, the show where we explore ways of getting games to run on computers that are under the minimum requirements, no matter the sacrifices, and boy, are we going to sacrifice a lot on this one. You know how YouTube ads are the most unreliable way of maintaining a channel ever? If you want to help me continue making these videos, consider a small donation on Patreon, or if you want to get something out of it, consider buying a humble bundle using the link in the card in the corner or in the description. On the current bundle, you could get games like Hard West, Renowned Explorers, and Slime Rancher for less than $13. And as always, thank you for supporting my channel. Borderlands 2 is a 2012 game running on my all-time favorite engine, Unreal Engine 3. While the requirements do not look particularly high, I tested on the lowest settings on a resolution of 1024 by 768 on the Atom X7 C8 700 powered GPD Win portable game console and got around 20 FPS with some rather frequent game crashes. Because I was curious, I also tried this on the X5 C8 300 Atom stick computer from Intel, which I recently tested more extensively on a video that probably came out with this one. I would love to tell you how it did, but the game was stuck on an infinite loading screen every time. Right, time to get to work. For this game, you need to navigate into the configuration file located in your Documents folder, My Games, Borderlands 2, Willow Game, Config, and the main configuration file is called willowengine.ini. On the previous video, I focused on increasing performance by making sure shadows were disabled with dynamic shadows on false, and I also disabled the post effect that applies the black border around the characters, which can be achieved by changing the default post-process name in the file from Willow Scene Post-Process to Ryan Scene Post-Process. Now, I'm also going to disable other effects from the system settings such as decals. You can disable dynamic lights, secondary lighting, and directional light maps for a very important boost in performance, as long as you're aware that this will make the game look very dark, although still usable. You can tweak the game's internal resolution as well, as long as upscale screen percentage is enabled. You can then use screen percentage to reduce internal resolution to a percentage of the external resolution without affecting the UI. One word of warning though, some of the game's interfaces were not designed with this in mind and will become unusable on very low internal resolutions, so I do not recommend going under 80%. Finally, we have our old friend the texture groups in the system settings, where you can reduce all the max LOD values to very low numbers, and this is actually more effective than I originally imagined. A max LOD value of 1 will pretty much disable all graphical detail and leave you with something that resembles an Atari game, but in 3D. This is actually kinda nice. There should be an indie game with this aesthetic, huh? A value of 16 will look a bit more acceptable, and you can start erasing the details when you go as high as 128. How low are you willing to go depends on you. A copy of my configuration file is in the description if you want to copy the LOD values or any other changes. Going to these extremes on the GPD Win gave me a surprising 40 FPS. Performance is kept over 30 FPS even while fighting in open areas, which is pretty impressive. The compute stick was even more of a surprise. I had to drop the internal resolution down to 30%, which, as I told you before, is not recommended because it breaks several menus, but at the beginning of this video I commented on how this game will not even start on this device, and now the game not only loads pretty quickly, but it's also able to maintain near 30 FPS performance on combat. While I will not recommend playing this game like this, or in this low end of a computer, I must admit it is pretty interesting to see that it is possible to reduce this game so low that it will run on this thing. I suspect this effect has to do with the very limited quantity of RAM and memory on this specific computer. So, these LOD tweaks are something worth thinking about on integrated GPUs. Oh, and if you want to know what I am up to next, or if you want to participate on the relentless shitposting, follow me on Twitter or like my page on Facebook. Thank you to the donors in Patreon who make these videos possible. See you on the next video.